Hello, I'm Wayne Visser, and I'm Director of CSR International, and I'm here in Chicago today with Deborah Pavelka, who's a professor of accounting here at Roosevelt University, specializing especially in fraud, forensic accounting, and the like. Welcome.
Thank you.
Could you kick off by just giving us an idea of what are the trends in fraud in America? Is it a problem? Is it growing? Is it getting less?
It's growing, and it's growing not only in America, but it's growing worldwide. Every type of fraud is growing. To give you an idea of the cost, the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners, in the report to the nation, states that the losses due to companies from fraud are about $9 a workday for each employee, which means if you take a 5-day work week and a 50-week work week for the year, you get a total loss of $2,250 per employee, which is going to add up very quickly. You want to know where that raise you wanted this year went? Went to fraud. And a lot of employees do not realize this.
Yeah. Now, after some of the big scandals like Enron and WorldCom, the response really was to do something like Sarbanes-Oxley Act. Has this been effective in the United States?
Sarbanes-Oxley it has been somewhat effective. Probably the biggest problem with Sarbanes-Oxley was the first thing that most companies complained about was the cost. Sarbanes-Oxley, some of the parts have been eased away because of the fact that it was more or less a shooting from the hip type law. They wanted to put something in place to appease the American public, and they came up with Sarbanes-Oxley. Probably a better reaction to all of the financial frauds that occurred not only in the United States but throughout the world is the fact that now your Financial Action Task Force, which is housed in Paris, they are taking the suspicious activity reports that are being generated worldwide. The European Union, in all of their directives, their third directive was on money laundering. And as part of the directive, it requires all members of the European Union to submit suspicious activity reports. And the United States had already been doing so. And these reports, there's just a ton of them that come in every year, thousands from every country. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of reporting being done there.
Now, when a lot of people think about corruption, they often think about developing countries, not countries like the United States. But you seem to be suggesting that it's as much a problem here as it might be in more obvious areas.
It's a problem in all countries. No country is immune from having fraud occur there, just as no person or profile type can be used to predict who will be committing fraud. Mm-hmm. Fraud occurs everywhere, mm-hmm, and by all types of people.
So what have been some of the most successful strategies, do you think, to counteract fraud?
There are a lot of strategies that are being used. Within businesses, one of the strategies that seems to have a significant impact is the use of cameras and letting people know that they are going to be viewed on an intermittent basis. You're letting the people know that they are being recorded because there might have been fraud or they're worried about the possibility of fraud. And if people know that they're being monitored, they're more likely to think twice about committing fraud.
On the other hand, I guess not always a popular strategy. People feel that their privacy may be invaded.
That's true. And a problem with a lot of these actions that companies are taking, or like the TSA at the airports, a lot of them are considered to be intrusive. Mm-hmm. But it's a matter of how safe do you want to be? Mm-hmm. How safe do you want to feel when you get on that airplane that you're going to land in one piece.
Yeah.
If a company has had a major fraud, are they going to be able to survive? And do you want to help them survive or leave it wide open again?
Yeah.
There's a lot of problems encountered.
Last question then, where would you say have you seen best practices? Which countries or which industries do you think are being most successful in tackling this?
I would probably say your financial industry, basically because they are subject to the most loss. You have your banks here in the United States. When you look at the financial industry, they have the Bank Secrecy Act. They're subject to oversight from FinCEN, the Federal Reserve, and a number of other institutions. All of their people have to be trained. You'll notice when you go to do an account, you're asked, it's like 10 million questions, and you wonder, why are they asking me all these questions? They have information they have to gather. And so they are being very aware, and they're doing their best to gather the information because they know that so many things are being abused. Funds are being taken out of the country, money laundering's occurring, drug money's being deposited in accounts and being cleaned to be used in some illegal activity. You have your blood diamonds. There's a variety of problems that have to be dealt with. And the financial industry, like I said, has the most laws by the federal government.
Okay, one last question perhaps, because you mentioned blood diamonds. Are there any movies that you would recommend people watch that deal with these issues and that would raise awareness about the problems?
Oh, yes. If you want to watch one on money laundering and blood diamonds and that, there's a variety. There's The Lord of War, loosely based, I should say, on the life of Victor Bout, which stars Nicolas Cage. You then have the movie Blood Diamonds that had Leonardo DiCaprio as one of the head actors. And there was a documentary done on CNBC here in the United States, also called Blood Diamonds, talking about the problem. So those are 3 movies, 2 of which I know are available on the internet and or at a store. The documentary, I'm not sure, though, about its availability.
Great. Well, thanks for sharing your insights with us today.
Well, thank you, Wayne.